My name is Amir Bazaz, and I work for Indian Institute for Human Settlements, Bangalore, and I handle the practice portfolio here. My research as a part of Peak Urban Project is centered around energy. And as we know, for the last many decades, energy has been very central to the development process. Energy is required for production, energy is required to lead decent quality of life, energy is also required to manage governance processes. What we have found is that there is not a very comprehensive understanding about future energy transitions, particularly at the scale of urban. This issue becomes very complicated when urban governments have no legal mandate to decide about what energy sources they should tap into and how should they probably define the energy system. In India, for example, the constitutional mandate doesn't allow urban governments to intervene in the energy planning process in a big way. Largely, they are able to just manage the flow of the energy, and they are not responsible for deciding about the stock of energy. This is the central problem that I am trying to address, and I am using Bangalore as a case site. The way I have framed this problem is to first build a very comprehensive understanding about the energy transitions that have been witnessed in the city in the past 2-3 decades. The reason why I am doing this is that I want to identify that what are the key drivers and what are the key influencing factors that have defined the energy landscape in the city. This is crucial because when we think about impact, we also understand that what are the pressure points that we have to tap into. Once that is done, I am going to use a quantitative framework to model the past as well as the possible future energy transition, which will be guided by scenarios that I will develop together with communities, together with people who are responsible for energy in the city or at the regional level, and try and understand that the multiple pathways of energy futures that we are talking about, how are those leading to addressing development, climate, as well as sustainable development goal 7. Are they able to deliver on these mandates or not? My hypothesis is that a lot of these energy transition stories will be mediated by what happens in the technology landscape, what happens in the institutions and governance landscape, and what happens in the regulatory landscape. So what I am doing is that I am building deep cases that crisscross the technology, regulation, institution, governance landscape, and use insights from these thick descriptions to inform my model so that my future trajectories are more robust and more compatible and also more accessible and also more acceptable to different kinds of stakeholders. Once that is done, it is important to think operationally about the impacts, and a lot of it is governed by the theory of change that I have described for my project. And the theory of change is very simple, that we should be able to produce something from this project that informs decision making, articulates a narrative that reframes the energy agenda, and also the material that is produced as a part of this research should become some kind of a guidance tool for policymakers. And that's why as a part of this project, I have 3 important deliverables, 3 or 4 important deliverables. One is to do, once my results are there, to basically validate these results in the context of the practical realities of how the city is going to evolve. Once the results are validated, I am going to prepare a pathways calculator which helps decision makers in the present to look at the choices that they are making today and how those choices possibly would impact a future of the city, as well as how it is going to impact the lives of people living in the city.